Now back to Unnecessary Roughness with your boy Q, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio.
Here we go, Raider Nation. Coming up around 4:45, 4:50-ish. Ari's going to hit us with a couple reasons or excuses and also possibly hit us with the National Day of the Day, depending on if it's a good one or not. We'll make that decision coming up about, 15, 20 minutes from now here on Raider Nation Radio 920, Unnecessary Roughness. But joining us now in studio, not on the phone lines, but in the Finley Cadillac Performance Studios, not only Ari, but our good friend Patty Davidson, Bet the Money Honey. And Patty, how you doing? It's football season.
Oh, my gosh, this is the most exciting time of the whole year. You know, we all love our sports. We love every sport, but there is just nothing like the NFL. I know it sounds a little prejudicial, but it just is the best, right? Think of all the upsets we just had this weekend. Oh, my heavens, this is why we watch.
Yes, it really is. And this is only the first week. We've got at least 17 more weeks of this to go in the regular season and then the playoffs as well. But when you start looking and paying attention, and you're in the business of educating young ladies and women how to really gamble and make some money, when you start looking at the NFL, like, what is one of your biggest keys that you really focus in on?
You know, after this weekend, and I've always thought this anyway, because people will go, well, who do you think I should bet? And I really do believe you should look at it as kind of entertainment, because what just happened over this weekend and will happen every weekend, every game, every Thursday, every Monday, no matter what it is, on any given day. Any given day, anybody can beat anyone because these are professionals. That's what makes it so exciting. I mean, whoever thought that, you would have a rookie returning a punt.
Right.
And just what just happened? They didn't even have a quarterback. I don't even know what just happened. But that is what makes it so interesting, because I believe that we've talked about this a little bit before. If you just have, a little bit on a game and you're watching the game, believe me, all of a sudden you're going to learn how to play the game, And you either learn how to play it or you say, oh, well, maybe I want something going on the whole game. So there's so many prop bets. It's like, well, I like that player against this one. I want the flip of a coin. I want this, that, and the other. But I think that it kind of brings people together, which sounds really odd that you would think betting would do that. But there's so many people that bet. Sometimes you got the isolated person that, oh, no, don't talk to me because I got to sit in my lazy boy and I can't be bothered, because I'm watching the game. But what if you had the whole family there, or friends and stuff like that, and you just got a little bit going on? I just think that it's good for people.
I agree 100%. Patty Davidson is our guest here on Raider Nation Radio 920 Unnecessary Roughness. The funny thing about it is, and you mentioned good for people, sometimes I'll sit around with some buddies that they may have something on the game and I don't. Like I just don't. But I'll be watching it with them, and I'll find myself rooting for them. Because the game is fun, but I like to see other people win. So if my buddy wins, I feel like I won. Even though I didn't win anything, it's fun to see someone so excited after they do win.
Well, I think that is the thrill of victory, right?
Yeah.
We all love the thrill of victory, or just, I don't know, choosing, or just, whatever it is. But, you don't want to be the person that's sitting in the room going, I don't even know what they're talking about. I've never kicked a soccer ball in my life, I've never bounced a basketball. I don't know anything about these sports. But you just kind of find out that you don't really have to if you put, again, a wager that's not a crazy wager, but just enough to make it interesting. All of a sudden, it's going to spark your intelligence. You're going to go, maybe I should learn a little bit about this. But then the people around here know they're going to start teaching you. So it's just fun stuff.
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned something right there kind of piqued my interest. How much do you think that fantasy sports and the way that it blew up really kind of was the fast track to even having people decide that they wanted to put more wagers on game? Because it's almost like a gambling type thing when you're doing fantasy sports, but it also helps educate you on the sport as well.
I think that fantasy sports was the way that sports betting got into other states. Because you were not betting on sports teams. You were kind of creating your own team, but it was an introduction. And it introduced how much fun this is. And it introduced, yes, oh my goodness, we're all getting together on Sunday or whatever day it is. Could be baseball, it doesn't matter. And we're all rooting for our players. But it was the real introduction, because in the beginning, only Las Vegas could have sports betting, remember?
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago, but it was the fantasy sports that introduced it without saying, oh, no, you're not bribing your team players, but you can still bet and you can still watch games and you can still have fun.
There it is. Fantasy sports. That was the gateway. That was the gateway to making everything happen. Again, we're speaking with Patty Davidson, who's in studio in the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio. I'm in the home studio, Studio Q, but she's there with Ari side by side. And as far as player prop bets, you mentioned those. Those are a lot of fun. I really am intrigued by player prop bets. What are there some that are out there that are your favorite ones to play?
I think that for player prop bets, it comes down to, like when you have playoff games and those types of things going on, those are fun. But think about this. How about car racing? We got Formula One coming up in Vegas, believe it or not.
Yeah, we do.
But it's like a horse race. All those cars. Do you really think that you're going to pick the only one that's going to win? I don't know. Maybe you can. But if you said, you know what, I think this driver is going to be better than this driver, or those type of prop bets, and so now you can have bets inside the game, and those are more manageable. I think that this one will make it to the end. I think this one will make it 50 laps.
Right.
Those kind of things. And so it gives you a little bit more interest because. What would it be like, your one and only that you thought was going to win the race, guess what? Their car blew up on the first round.
Right.
The first lap, all of a sudden, they blew a tire, they did something, and so they're not even in there anymore. Well, all your interest just went. But if you look at the props, they have so many props these days that you can just bet on different things. It's like, well, if that one's gone, let's look at this one then. And again, it's the interest in the game, and they do it on almost every type of game anymore, but it's car racing in particular.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned, just the player prop bets and the interest in them. I was looking at a few of them from Monday Night Football, and I was looking at the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, and the over-under for, just passing yards was 248.5 yards. And I feel like, he would have gone over that, no doubt about it. But then he threw 3 interceptions, and he fumbled the ball one time. So he lost the ball all those times. So as much as a bet you could look at and say, that's no doubt he's going to go over, when he has a day like Josh Allen had where he turned the ball over as many times, that makes him end up under, and then you end up losing the player prop bet. And so it feels like, to me, that's just kind of the intrigue and has you sitting on the edge of your seat waiting to see what's going to happen next.
Well, I think that also goes back to on any given day.
Right.
It just is what it is. And so I sometimes think, if you're just betting, just a nominal amount, just enough for interest that maybe it's nice. Okay, go ahead and bet for the win, bet for the whatever, but bet some of these prop bets on the inside because it gives you more to root for, and it keeps your interest in the game. And if you're really you never played football again, you never played baseball, you never played a sport, you're not going to know the rules as much as somebody who did. And so this allows you to, again, keep an interest, which it just makes it more exciting, hang out with your friends.
Yeah, see, Ari, there's hope for you yet, right? There's hope for you yet, brother. You'll learn the game sooner rather than later. Just throw a little wager on it. You make the big bucks anyway, Ari. So.
Oh, yeah. That's me. No, please teach me.
Yeah, no doubt. Patty Davidson is our guest right now, Raider Nation Radio 920. So, again, I say that you're in the teaching business. You like to teach gambling. You like to teach kind of the rules and what to look for, this, that, and the other. What's been the latest and the greatest that you've been teaching? Is there any certain element that you've really been focused in on?
I think that I try to just go whatever is the newest sport going on right now. So we'll do a lot on football right now.
Yeah.
But we're also going to start a lot on car racing. Because Formula One, that race is going to be amazing.
Massive.
It is,
Yeah.
But don't forget, we're going to end up pretty soon being at the end of baseball. So this is our world. We have major sports going on all the time.
Do you focus in on NFL, or do you also talk about college football, or focus in on college football as well?
Well, how can you not do college? Duke and Clemson. Come on. On any given day.
Yeah. How about Colorado? What Colorado and Coach Prime has been able to do?
Think about it. You just really can't, because you never know the group that you're going to get together. Especially, I love college sports. I really do. And who can't? These people are only going to play together for maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years max.
Right.
And they're going to play their hearts out. It doesn't matter if it's women's sports, men's sports, whatever it is, they're going to. And they're unpredictable. They could say, "Oh, we had the best recruiting season we've ever had. We're going to be awesome," but you never know.
Right. No, you don't. And we've seen some early upsets. We see Colorado 2-0. Clemson, Duke, as you mentioned, Clemson dropped already. I mean, and it's only a couple weeks into the college football season. You're just seeing some big-time performances already. So is there any element of the college game? Is there any angle that you like to focus on a little bit more than others, or is it just the game's general?
I think the game is just as general. I mean, the rules are the same, but it's a little bit different because they're young, and I think they don't have always the backup, especially if you go to basketball. They don't really have the deep bench. They don't have, the replacements. They don't have that. And so for something like that, if you never know, if they have like maybe an emotional thing happen, if they had an injury of a player, it seems that it's going to affect them just a little bit more because they are still youth.
Yeah.
And so that's something that if you're going to follow, you follow. But you also find that, I mean, there are fans, that, oh, my goodness, my NFL team is the one that's it. There's nobody else. But it's more so at the college level because parents send their children to college. That becomes their team. And so it's a little bit more emotional.
Yeah, it is. And we got a text on our don'tbebroke.com text line saying, Q, please ask your guest if playing fantasy sports, having 4 fantasy baseball teams and 5 fantasy football teams, if I have a problem. No offense will be taken, LOL. So is there a problem there at all?
Well, I would say that the good thing is that you get to root a lot. You get to watch a lot. But the other thing, what do we always say? As long as you're only betting what you can afford to not
lose.
win.
Right? Only bet what you can afford to lose in my world. Right? I have a very small amount that I'm willing to lose, and that's what I'm willing to bet right there. And I'm good with that. After that, well, all bets are off.
Well, you can tell him he's probably having a good time.
Yeah. Well, his name is Sir Whiskey Ray, so you could tell that just by his name, he's obviously going to have a good time.
Yes, indeed.
There's no doubt. Patty Davidson is our guest. So, Bet the Money, honey. I saw that the YouTube page is still rolling. Everything good with that?
We are. We're ramping it up. We've got the website up and running. We have, our social media is going, and we're just going to keep pushing.
So when someone goes to the website, goes to the YouTube, what are they going to find?
They're going to find links to our videos, our teaching videos, and I try to break it down to where it's very simple because sometimes, you talk to people and it's like, well, how do I make a straight bet? And you end up, like 5 paragraphs later and I don't even know what they're talking about, So I try to keep it very, very short, simple. Let me teach you this one thing, just one thing. How to walk up to the window, make a bet. How to turn your app on and make a bet. What are all the different options out there right now? I mean, of course, there is just so much going on right now. You're just like, even though it's just maybe not a point spread, it's like, okay, how about it on my phone? I can do an in-play. I can watch the game a bit, and I can go ahead and I can make a wager. But I just try to teach them a little bit about you're betting this much money to win this much money. And what are all the different options? Teasers, parlays, straight bets, just round robins. And just try to teach them the lingo in the very beginning.
How much of a game changer was it that now you can do, you mentioned the in-game betting, right? You can literally watch the game and go to your app and place a bet while the game's going on.
Because think about that. What if I just love this team. I really do. And, I love it going in. And somehow or another, so I loved them so much, but they were what we would say -3. So they had to win by more than -3 because the books thought that they were at least 3 point better than the other team.
Right.
And then you go in, and somehow or another, something crazy happens, and the other team scores 14 points. What is used football?
Right.
14 points. If you're doing in play, all of a sudden, your -3 that you were going to lay in the beginning could become a +11.
Right.
And there's 4 quarters.
Yep.
And so you could do it that way. Now, all of a sudden, you're in pretty good shape, if you still love your team, because as we know, things can turn around really fast.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. And look, the Raiders went into this game against the Broncos. They were 3.5 point underdogs. They won by 1. right? So, I mean, they just got the flat-out win, but they were, they were the underdog, and they got it. So, I mean, you could look at them and say, hey, I think the wrong team is favored in this one. I'm going to roll with the Raiders and just go for you're giving the points, and they went and got the win straight up.
But, during that game, but what if they would have gone down?
Yeah.
You could have got on maybe at +6.
There you go. I like it.
That's in play.
It is. That is in play, and that's part of it. And I'll tell you, there's so many different ways that you can focus in on gambling. You can have fun. You can bet a little. You can wager a lot. Whatever the case may be. But what's comfortable for you? That's what the key is, Patty. Right? Don't do something that's comfortable for someone else. Do something that's comfortable for you.
That's right. And people will go, "Oh, don't bet with your heart." Why not? Bet with your heart.
My heart costs me money sometimes. I gotta bet with my brain.
No, but sometimes your heart is better than your brain. It's like everybody will go, "How did you pick that one?" Well, because I liked them.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's just how it rolls, and that's how it happens sometimes. Well, Patty, fantastic stuff. Again, Bet the Money, honey. The website. Anything else that you need someone to want someone to look out for to kind of educate themselves a little bit more?
I think that the main thing is just, and I'm not, promoting myself as whatever, but I really do believe I'm a good teacher. I do. Because I just keep it simple. I always say because I had to come up and learn this from nothing.
Right.
And so it just feels like, it's easy for me to break it down to very simple, short bites and then teach people just one thing. I say just one thing. If I taught you one thing today, good. You can go out, you can bet that one thing. So they should just go to betmoneyhoney.com.
Boom, simple like that. Look, I bet one thing as well, and that's when I go to the casino and I look for the triple-double diamond machine. I put $100 in and I press bet. That's the one thing I know how to do really well.
Wait till you win that $100,000, then you're going to be doing it every day.
Yeah, I know. That's good. That's when the problem's going to kick in. Then I'm going to have 4 fantasy teams, 5, this, that, and the others. Then I'm going to be like Sir Whiskey Ray,
yep.
And I'm going to have a problem. No, really, good stuff, Patty. It's always great to catch up with you again. BetTheMoneyHoney.com. Learn something. Patty will teach you, and you are a very good teacher. We appreciate you being with us on Raider Nation Radio 920.
Q, thanks for having me.